I'm going to be giving a summary for the part two of the book, which is called Lightning the Fire, and I'm going to be providing you with the key concepts. The part two focuses on the meeting Catherine had with the board of directors of her organization, and they decided on how to tackle the problem. And what was their problem? The problem was the fact that they were behind two of their competitors in terms of both revenue and customer growth, despite having more cash than they do, having more core technology, and having more powerful board of directors. Um, the Catherine decided the core to this problem they had, or the foundation to this problem they had, was because they had a dysfunctional team. And she came up with 5 reasons why she thinks teams can become dysfunctional. And hopefully, with the five she's giving out, she's hoping that once they kind of fix that problem, then they could start seeing a better result. Um, the first one is the absence of trust. The absence of trust. I've just got two. I've got four quotes here, and I'm just going to mention two. The first one, it says, "Trust is the foundation of real teamwork." And the second quote I'm going to use, it says, "The only way to build trust is to overcome our needs for invulnerability." This is perfectly right. She's bang on. She's spot on. But it's not as easy as it sounds. We actually live in a society now where organizations are they're more diverse. Everyone believes in different things. People go to people work for different reasons, and people are in different organizations for different reasons. So trusting each other, it's not really shouldn't be a hard thing really, but then once again we find out in a lot of companies there's no trust between employees to employee, and also there's no trust between employee and the vision of the company, or to the company or company to employee. um, Once again, it's not there is no simple or magic formula to use to kind of build trust. The only way I could think of is by giving everyone a voice. Once everyone has a voice, everyone's voice is heard, and the company actually takes pride in actually listening, giving people a voice and hearing them out. Then people can start to feel at home and kind of settle down in that environment and be themselves, and they get to know one another because they know their voice will be heard, and then they know people will actually take them for who they are. And also, saying that, there is a quote here from Stephen Covey. It says, "Trust is the highest form of human motivation. It brings out the very best in people." Yeah, that is true. But also, when you tend to trust someone and you give them a voice, then you have to remember now we are in a company where there's a lot of diversity. People won't argue with each other. There would be that sort of conflict because people are from different backgrounds, people have different personalities, people have different motives to be at the work, and people think differently. So, which goes to our second one, the fear of conflict. But then, once again, I'm just going to read out the first quote. It says, "If we don't trust one another, then we're going to engage in open, constructive, ideological conflict, and we'll just continue to persevere a sense of artificial harmony." Also, looking at this, yeah, most companies actually just live this artificial harmony we're talking about. It's actually the culture in most companies. Okay, they want more diverse people, which is gonna provide more diversity, not actually finding the cure or the foundation to why they're actually doing something. So I think the idea here for this fear of conflict is having a good system for conflict management, a sort of system in place whereby when there is conflict is resolved quickly and everyone is heard, everyone's opinion does matter, and no one and everyone is kind of put in a place where they could become a better person, not just a better employee, but just actually a better person in general. And you can see it from Ephesians 4:26. It says, "Be angry and yet do not sin. Do not let the sun go down on your anger." And this is just the Bible rephrasing exactly what I've said in a nutshell. And also, once we could put that in perspective. So yeah, there will be conflict. There is good conflict and there is bad conflict. So if we have a good system for conflict management, then we could actually see who's actually committed and who's not committed to the vision. It's no, it doesn't make any employee a bad person or a bad individual if they don't succumb or if they don't agree with the vision of the organization. It just means as leaders or as executives in the organization, we just need to kind of take them away from the organization, kind of, because if they don't believe in the vision, there's no point in them being there. Organizations really do need people that really believe in the vision. So the only way we could do to get them to be committed and to actually embrace the role, embrace being in that organization, is to know if they are in line with the vision. We need to remember, give them the voice. We actually need to remember we need to manage the conflict right. We need to make sure we resolve it properly by listening to everyone, making sure everyone's opinion is heard and everything like that. I have a quote from Nichols and Stevens here. It says, not listening to both employees and customers could result in a lack of unused potential. So once again, it's not just employee to employee, it's not just organizations to employee. What about the customers we're actually delivering to? Are we listening to what they're saying, or are we just doing what we need to do? For example, Apple's a good example. I mean, since the death of Steve Jobs, even just a little bit before that as well, there is a self complaint whereby a lot of the customers were actually asking they want better a phone. I mean, some quality of the phone. They want battery that lasts a lot longer and stuff like that. But then when they produce the next one, they still find that they still have the same problem. So nowadays, you see a lot. There are more users for Android than actually Apple itself. So this listening to customers even could affect the actual performance of the company. So it's not just employee to employee only. And then going to the next one, we're looking at the avoidance of accountability. So I'm just going to read out a quote here. It says, um, once we achieve clarity and buy-in, we have to hold each other accountable for what we signed up to do, for high standards of performance and behavior. And as simple as that sounds, most executives hate to do it, especially when it comes to peer behavior, because they want to avoid interpersonal discomforts. So once again, you can see here, the actual problem right now here, it's not just the leaders or the executives not wanting to do it, or not just the employees being accountable, but is actually, do we actually have people that are committed to the organization, to the vision, to the goals, to what we set to achieve? If they are committed, if we already give them a voice, if we already have a system in place where we can manage conflict properly, and we also kind of give them realize they're committed, then naturally it will progress to actually they will actually hold themselves a high standard. If we actually make better people rather than better employees, then they will hold themselves a higher standard. And also there's a quote here from Ty Kisley saying, I have come to believe that achieving peak performance on any team requires that everyone on the team takes ownership of their roles and responsibilities. Everyone on the team is accountable for what they do and don't do. um, and then once everything is achieved, so once we give a voice, once we make sure we have a good system in place for conflict management, once we make sure we actually operate, we've eliminated our people that are not committed, and we've kept people that are committed, and then once we make sure that we actually setting a high standard, then the results will generally come. There's a quote here. I mean, there will be a level of confidence among every single employee, regardless of if you're a manager or not, and there will be that sort of employee satisfaction. But then, like Wakeman said, there is a difference between employee and ego. There is a difference between success and self-sabotage. So we just need to make sure that that line is not crossed. We make sure everyone's head is on the shoulders, and we need to make sure even at the time where we're getting good results, everyone's head is on the shoulder, and no one is being egoistic. Thank you.